Despite snow still being on the ground in some places, spring is definitely here, and I've been pushing the envelope to get things established, especially after hearing the weatherman say that we just had the hottest winter on record, which in Florida can only mean record summer heat. So the goal is to finish transplanting and create trellises for the climbing plants before the hot weather arrives. Let me show you what I mean. Everything has started to sprout, like the butternut and summer squash, along with the companion planted pole beans. The corn is coming along nicely, and I decided to transplant some of my thinned out butternut squash, summer squash, and beans with them to use the classic Three Sisters method. So far, it seems to be working. The blueberry bush has really taken off after being transplanted to its own bed. The hanging planters with alyssum and marigolds have also begun to fill out. The nasturtiums seem to be happily moving along. And the kohlrabi bulbs are not hard to spot either. I'm still experimenting with the tomato plants and have set some out in the beds to compare their growth against the seedlings I've grown using the 2-cup method. A few more weeks should tell the difference. But the final trellis I need to make is for this container with cucumbers and pole beans. It was on to the workshop. I thought about doing an elaborate trellis with a hexagon shape and then decided with all the stuff I had going on, I needed something simple that would get the job done. I'm using furring strips as a cheap body for the trellis, and first needed to decide how high it should be. I picked 68 inches to give the vining plants lots of room to grow. Some of the strips were a little warped, but that was okay. I cut the first length and used that as my measure for the other 3. The width of the container is 18 inches, so I cut a fence picket into sections that were 19 inches long for the rungs of the trellis. I simply needed to cut them down to 1-inch strips that would make a sturdy trellis, but also not be too big for the vines. I made a mark on all 4 furring strips so I would know where to begin putting on the strips that would start just above the top of the container. And now to attach the strips. I created a 9-inch spacer that would help me precisely position each strip. And there one side was created. And of course, my assistant Sunny Girl made sure to get in the way. 1 down, 1 to go. Once I had repeated the process, I now had the 2 sides I needed to begin to complete the trellis. I could simply set up the 2 sides and add the strips to the existing sections. And then flip it over to repeat that process. In no time, the trellis was completed. All I had to do was install it over the container. Now the cucumbers and pole beans can grow as high as they want, and I can easily find the cucumbers and beans as they climb. And I only used 4 furring strips and 1 fence picket. Making this trellis gave me an idea to make a lattice trellis for the indeterminate tomatoes. But that is another video. See you next time.